Greetings to you listeners, greetings to you viewers, greetings to you friends and colleagues. I am back again, Dr. Stanley Maposa, to our leadership lessons that we journey together and look at some very critical subjects which are for leaders, for aspiring leaders, and for everybody in society who is led to understand some great principles that we are teaching in these lessons. Please subscribe in the channel, please comment, please engage with us, give us input so that we can be able to improve on these topics and be able to serve you better. Please share with others so that we can also learn together. Today's topic is on what I call real change requires real results, or in other English, real change requires real results. In these leadership lessons, as I've indicated, are focused on principles that guide leaders, tools that leaders can use, and behaviors that leaders should exhibit. I've also stressed that the purpose of a leader is to change things in order for them to become better than what they were before the leader was there, which means change must be real and change must be sustainable. Change must remain well after the leader is gone, whether the leader goes by dying or resignation or being fired or whatever circumstance. The change that that particular leader brings in an organization or in a setup must be sustainable. I have operated in the area of business. I have operated in the government space. I've also operated in the non-profit world. And I know that context differs from one place to another. I know that the challenges are different as well. There are also different principles and purposes of leadership that comes through different spaces where one finds themselves leading. We are sitting in South Africa after the municipal elections that were held in November, the first week of November, and there has been some debates over massive changes that need to be happening at local level. Building of local infrastructure, addressing climate change issues, poverty, unemployment of youth, and also investing in human capital development around the issues of education, healthcare, as well as support for children and their families. I support these goals that are interesting. I support these manifestos and all these promises that we had. And we really need to do that. And for me, 27 years is a long time, but it's also a short time. We should be gaining some serious results from the 27 years. And if South Africa was a baby or a child or a human being, it would be 27 years old. And most of the 27-year-olds, some of them are already working, some of them are married, some of them are doing some serious work elsewhere. Therefore, we need to see this democracy that is maturing, moving with the edge that it is with. I support these goals, as I've indicated, and a lot of South Africans support them. But realistically, we have been talking about these goals for a long time, and the progress has not been achieved as much as we want it to be. There are so many initiatives that have been launched. There are so many, frameworks, so many plans, so many policies that have been put in place. And some of them have been launched with good sounding words, wonderful words like Tumamina, wonderful words like, radical economic transformation. Those are wonderful terms. By the way, it's not only in government where wonderful words are done. We have heard wonderful words being done in church, that this is a year of this and this is a year of that and that. Those are wonderful words. We have seen also in NGOs people saying this year we're going to be doing this, we're going to be reaching out to 1 million children. We're going to be building up so many facilities. Those words are good and interesting, but the problem is how much money is being spent on that, and how much plans are being put on that, how much resources in terms of human beings are being put on that, how much institutionalization is being done to make sure that these are not just slogans. These are not just good words that are spoken. Because what makes me say that is that festering problems still remain, and partisan bickering continues despite the good statements that we hear. And we don't see the balance between the good words and the actual action on the ground in really solving some of these complex and wicked problems that are out there in our face on a day-to-day basis. So I've come to speak today here how we can actually solve some of these problems, these complex problems, and achieve real results. And when we do that, we need to be applying a few principles that I'm going to be suggesting today. The first principle, number one, is that people that are closest to the problem are the best to know how to solve the problem. Can I repeat that? People that are closest to the problem are always the best to know how to solve that problem. We've got a problem of people that sit somewhere in ivory towers, in the cities, in the government departments where there is good aircon, in New York, in the United Nations, and they think they know everything. And they think they can parachute into Nziki or Mtubatuba and tell the people that are staying in that community how to develop their own community. For starters, these people in Nziki and Mtubatuba were staying there before you came. And they were living their life before you came. And they know how to be solving their problems using what is called indigenous knowledge systems, using what is called oral traditions that have been passed to them from one generation to another. And it is quite critical for you to really engage those people that are closest to that problem, so that they can be able to help you or help themselves in solving the problem that they have. There is nothing called one size fits all. We have seen organizations, NGOs in particular, that bring in ready-made solutions from England, from UK, from all over the world, and they want to come and microwave those solutions and those models as if they are going to work here. I've got bad news for you, actually. They're not going to work. They are not going to work because there is nothing called one size fits all. If they work in Zambia, good enough for Zambia. They may not work in South Africa. They work in Zimbabwe. They may not work in South Africa. If they work in Mozambique, they may not work in South Africa. So never come to a community or to any society with the already packaged problems, because solutions to problems, because people always know better, those that are there, about the problem that is supposed to be solved. Engage, therefore, political and community leaders in real ways when you get into a community. Whether you are starting a church, whether you are starting a company, whether you are starting an NGO, engage those community leaders, political ones as well as community ones. In the process of engaging, also include children and youth. These are some of the people that are never included, in their ideas are never listened to. And people have been developing projects for youth without youth. when we're talking about youth and the children, we're talking about current as well as future leaders. They possess this twofold kind of arrangement. They are current leaders, but they are also future leaders in a way. So you need to tie the money to real deliverables. You need to track the spending as well as progress relentlessly. And then the communities will figure out how best things should be done. Headquarters in the case of Pretoria is too far from the action to take and ensure that decisions and necessary issues in different communities are done. So my number one is clear that when you are doing any intervention as a leader, engage the people that are closest to the situation or to the problem. Whatever problem it is you are trying to solve as a leader, engage those that are closest to the problem. Don't come in with ready-made solutions. Don't come in with the headquarters mentality. Don't come in with models that have already been prepared somewhere in the laboratory or in the boardroom, because they will not work. Communities have answers even if they have problems. The second thing, you need to cultivate allies or allies. Do not create adversaries. Instead of adversaries, create allies. When you are a leader, you need more allies than adversaries. You need more friends than adversaries. Successful change requires a lot of people in the boat with you. Successful change does not need bystanders that are throwing rocks at you. You need to be able to look at the team that you are working with and find collaborators and find allies and find people that will be on your side, not people that will watch and say, let's see what's going to be done, and some of them in the process throwing stones. Collaborate effectively with partners who can help get things done. I want to be clear that if you are a leader, you are not a super person, you are not a superman or woman, and therefore trying to do all things by yourself is suicidal. The business community is broadly supportive of the priorities that are necessary to build a better future. From a disaster recovery process up to the vaccine development, as we have seen in South Africa, we have learned that better results are achieved when business, government, and civil society are real partners. When all these work together, then we have better things done. Government cannot answer everything on its own, neither can business answer all the problems that we have in the country on its own, neither can civil society do that, never mind how much toy they do, never mind how much slogans they do at the union buildings. But if they do not learn to partner and become real partner with other partners, then there are no problems that can be solved. The core competence of business is to deliver results. So therefore, do not demand that they foot the bill in punitive ways and then you push their invaluable experience and expertise aside. What that simply means is that when you're working with business, don't just look for their money, but look also for their ideas. I've seen this also happening a lot in the church environment, where we have business people that are in the church and we only want them when we have a conference. We only want them when we want them to support a building project. We only want them to come in when we have some social responsibility project, but we don't listen to them any other time. Any other time, is our thing. We don't listen to them. And for me, it's abuse, because you are using others only when you want them, and when you have gotten what you want from them, you dump them. So even in government setup, government must not look for business partners during a crisis of a pandemic only. It should be a journey that happens throughout the life of a government. Civil society must not look for government when they are looking for funding. This must be a journey that happens in real partnerships, in real allies. And real allies will be able to solve the problems that we have. So I say, don't make adversaries, make allies. The third principle that I'm going to advance, and the last principle here in helping you make real change that requires real results, is what I call unbundling complex problems. Complex problems are exactly that. They are complex. They have got various components in them. They have got various layers in them. They have various entangling joints and connections. And therefore, if you are trying to solve such problems, you cannot solve them holistically like that. But you need to be eating the elephant bite by bite. Somebody said that. You need to be taking baby steps or one by one steps, one step at a time kind of approach. In other words, unbundling the complex problems or detangling the programs. Tackle the execution challenges in manageable bites. And this does not mean you are backing off from ambitious goals. It doesn't mean not thinking big and thinking wider, but it simply means that you have thought wider. You want to solve this problem already, but then go back and begin to create manageable steps that will address that particular problem. So people would say, one proverb says, Rome was not built in a day. I think Rome is one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the largest cities in the world. And it was built step by step, one by one. So the problems of the world are many and are various. And therefore you can't say to people, we have had politicians politicize and campaign and promise that over 5 years they will have solved all the problems that are there. I think that's what it is. It's a campaign. It's a campaign. It's not a strategy. It's not an execution. So, and people listen to some of those stories and they believe them. And they go around clapping hands and say, we have found a leader who's really going to change our problems in 5 years. I want to tell you, it's a campaign. It's exactly what it's called, it's a campaign. But people that really bring about real change, look at the problem and bundle it, move step by step, building infrastructure, addressing climate change bit by bit, investing in human capital development. All these are things that are big problems, but you need to have time frames of implementation plans that are different, funding strategies that are different, so that one by one and slowly but surely you address those complex problems. There's nothing that dooms a complex problem faster than creating more complexity. So it's already complicated. Don't complicate it further. Try to simplify it, and as you simplify it, you'll solve it better. For each program, be explicit about the necessary deliverables and the resources that are required for each one of them. What do you require? Human resource wise, financial resource wise, time resource wise, and then you'll be able then to address these problems. Think about what is called the leadership framework and be clear who needs to do what in the process and what systems of accountability need to be in place as you are addressing that particular problem. Whatever problem it is, even if it's a problem of drugs in the country. I was in Northwest some few days ago and I was appalled by the number of young people that smoke nyaope. I was so appalled. I stood there, it was in a funeral, I stood there and I watched the young people that were there, and they were all looking drunk of nyaope. And when I investigated further, I realized that the person that had passed away had been using nyaope. So incidentally, then the other Nyaope squad had come to bury their own. And I was so pained to see that situation. And many questions were running in my mind. I was saying, why are we not solving this problem? Are there not enough policemen to arrest these people that are selling the drugs? If we really come out and say, police, today we are hunting those people that are selling drugs to our people and causing our young people to be so pathetic, will we not be able to solve it? Unless some of these police people are benefiting from the problem. Unless they are also getting some money in order for them not to arrest the drug peddlers and the drug pushers. But I was so worried. A large number of young people, and I said, this is the future of our country. These are future leaders, but somebody has deliberately destroyed these people by giving them this particular drug. So what am I saying here? I'm trying to say we need to be clear who needs to do what. For example, for addressing this problem, who needs to be doing what? What are parents supposed to be doing about it? What are teachers supposed to be doing about it? What are policemen supposed to be doing about it? What are the judges and the magistrates and all those that are in the court system supposed to be doing about it? And when we work together in that way, we will address this problem. I'm telling you, over time we'll address this problem. But somebody is not doing their work, and somebody is thinking the other one is doing, and the other one is thinking the other one is doing, and we are approaching this problem from a piecemeal point of view. And I'm saying we need to unbundle this problem and be able, in the process, dig and find out what is the root cause of this problem. Because we can't be cutting their leaves, taking these guys to a rehabilitation center. They come back, they're smoking it more. Maybe in the rehabilitation centers themselves where they are taken to, there is more of these Nyaopes, and those that are trying to rehabilitate them are selling it to those people as well. So what is the root cause, and what is the accountability process for doing that? So I'm going to end it here and say politics is too much of sloganeering, and we have seen that in a lot of leadership spaces. Even in the church there is so much sloganeering. But leadership is about problem solving. If you are a leader, whether you are in church or you are in politics, or stop sloganeering, but start solving problems and changing the order of things for the better, and bring about real change that requires real results. I'll end it there for now and ask you again, please like the page, follow the page, comment on the page, spread the news that we are talking leadership lessons with Dr. Stanley.